Hello, good evening. How are you doing tonight? Uh, it's another lovely evening where we continue on our series after going on the goal getting blueprint for the past 7 weeks. This is the time where we begin to wrap things up and the challenge. Pardon me tonight, I'm not sharing the live session from my regular station. I'm in a hotel room, and trust me, the lighting sucks. I tried whatever I could to bring up the lighting to the best of its speed, but I believe it's going to be more of what I want to share than how I look. So, well, if you're ready, let's get right into it. Tonight, we're sharing a different approach as we begin to wind down in the challenge, and we're looking at our lives, more especially the hacks to about the trophy where it symbolizes the fact that everything that you do in your life, you must be on top of your game. You win in your physical life, in your mental life, in your social life, in your financial life, your spiritual life, your environmental life. Every area of your life commands some level of victory. And it is when you get to that stage that you command victory across the board that you know you are getting somewhere. And that is what we want to start dealing with for the next 4 weeks as we wind down on the challenge. Okay? So if you're ready, let's get right into it. Everything that you have learned for the past 70 days and counting is preparing you to be a champion. Okay, everything that you have learned, whether it is the mindset series, whether it is the strength of your why, whether it is the goal getting blueprint, clarity, comprehension, capacity, concentration, and confidence, everything that you've learned, whether in the live sessions or the ones that you've learned in the respective WhatsApp groups, is building up to something. And that is what we're talking about tonight. That, okay, now that I know these things, what next? What do I do? What do I do with my life? How do I take my game up at such a level that I don't have to keep doing things the way that we've always done it before and getting the same old result? We want to get a different result. That means we need to put in a different kind of input. Okay. So everything that you've learned is a building block, and it's preparing you to be what I refer to as a champion. Now, as you get to the end of this challenge, the word that we are going to be speaking more of is that word champion. A champion is that person who has completed his winning journey over every challenge. When you look at the different mini battles that you have to fight every now and then, you win some, you lose some. But eventually, everything that you do will eventually pick up to gaining overall victory. When you have gotten the victory at every respective stage of your mini battles and you have triumphed overall, that is when you can refer to yourself as a champion. Okay? When you have completed your winning journey on every challenge. And the different challenges that we're looking at is the different areas of your life. The joy of a champion is priceless. When you get to the top of the ladder, the significance level of your ladder, the first thing that comes to your mind is a sense of rush of fulfillment that indeed you have done the needful, the things that you ought to have achieved at every pocket of your life, you have eventually overcome. And that feeling is indeed priceless. It's priceless in such a way that it makes you feel so complete because what started that priceless or the worth of that feeling of being a champion is the fact that you have been looking forward to this moment all your life. You have been looking forward to this moment with every bit of things that you are doing. You are building up even to that level where you say, I am going to be on top. of all of these things. And that is what we are looking forward to in the next 30 days. You've done the first 30, you've done the second 30. Now we are starting the third 30, which is the trimester of the things that we're doing. And in doing this, you would realize that you need to win at every point. You can't only win at one point, you need to win at every point. And that joy is a function of the objective that you have set at the beginning of the challenge. If you remember when we talked about the 7 levels deep, how strong is your why? Whatever it is that you said you wanted to achieve, it is the strength of your why. How much have you probed it? That will determine the joy, the fulfillment that you have. If your why is not so strong, the victory will not be as gratifying. I don't know if you get the point I'm trying to make. Your victory needs to be as gratifying because you have put in so much into defining your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you still hanging around? You've done 70 days. Why are you still giving it an effort? Why are you still showing up? Why are you still pushing on? Why are you still writing out your power moves? Why are you still drafting out new neural pathways? Why are you still going against the grain, even when it is so uncomfortable? Why? Why? It is because you've got something that actually gratifies you. And that is what keeps you going. That is that staying power. That is the driving force that keeps you going until you eventually win. When you now win across the board, then you can call yourself a champion. Now, there's a difference between a champion and a winner. Yeah, because all champions are winners, but not all winners are champions. I'll take that again. All champions are winners, but not all winners are champions. If you take a tournament, a sports tournament of any kind, you'd realize that the road to winning in those tournaments is premised on winnings at every game. Take football. When you start a game of football, you realize that before you can win the championship, as it is called, it must have been on the back of series of wins per games. Take basketball, the same thing. Take chess, the same thing. Whatever game it is when you win at different mini battles that you can say you have become a champion. And a champion is that person that sits on top of the eventual games. So a winner, if you win only one battle, you can't consider yourself a champion because you can win some today and lose some tomorrow. But when you develop a consistent streak of winning every now and then you realize that you're pushing yourself to become the undefeated, the champion, the one who sits on top of the affairs of your life. All right. So now, when you look at the areas of your life that you are winning, we've talked about the 7 aspects of your lives. Every now and then, we talk about the mental aspect of your life, the physical aspect of your life, the spiritual, the financial, the emotional, the social, and the environmental. These are the games that you need to play in your life before you can be on top of your game. These are the areas of your life that define you. And you can't win some and lose some in this game. You have to win everything. To win everything, it means you need to be at your very best physically, at your very best mentally, at your very best spiritually, at your very best financially, at your very best socially. You also need to be at your very best environmentally and physically. It's an all-round ball game. You can't just win some or lose some. And that is what exactly we are trying to build on as we get to the end of the challenge. If you ride on the back of the 7 C's that you need to cross, all the ones that we've dealt with in the past, 7 weeks, they are all equipping you with the tools that you need to eventually fight to win. Okay? The winning streaks, which is what we're talking about even this evening and for the rest of the challenge, is premised on fighting. There is no win without a fight. There is no winning without a fight. Winning is about fighting. And that is one thing we must understand. In this battle, winning is about fighting. Fighting in itself isn't friendly, fighting is intentional. Fighting requires some effort from you. You don't stumble upon wins, you have to fight for it. There must be some bit of a wrestle, a tussle, blood, sweat, tears, efforts, grind, grit. It must be intentional to get you to the place that you need to be from the place that you used to be. If you remember the quote that I gave sometime about Zig Ziglar, I said you should set a goal so big that you cannot achieve it until you grow into the person who can. The person who couldn't achieve that goal and the person who eventually achieves the goal must have gone through a process. And that process stretches your elasticity. That process makes you uncomfortable. That process brings out the fight in you. The process that makes you win is the process that makes you fight. So you have to fight. Every day you get up, you beat the sleep, you hit the road. It is a fight. You write your goals every night, you draw up the workbook, the power moves you need to make, the new neural pathways you need to create. It is a fight. The things that you need to do, the people that you need to meet, the deals that you need to set, the offers that you need to make, it is a fight. Everything is a fight. And that is what we're talking about. Fighting isn't friendly, fighting isn't fun. And guess what? Fighting isn't fair. I'll take that again. Fighting isn't friendly, fighting isn't fun, and fighting isn't fair. You just have to fight to win. You've never found yourself in a situation where competitors cede victory to one another on a platter of gold. You just have to fight for the victory that you want. If you want to win in this challenge, you must fight discomfort. If you want to win in this challenge, you must fight inconvenience. If you want to win in in this challenge, you must fight inertia. Many of us, we go through some stages of inertia in our lives. That state that just puts you in a state of potential. You hear many people say, ah, this guy has got potential, he's got potential. But potential doesn't mean jack if you don't convert it into some kinetic energy, because almost doesn't count. You can be on the edge of a cliff for 10 years. If you don't take the leap of faith, you will never know what is on the other side. All right. So it is about fighting, is about coming out of your shell, coming out of your comfort zone, coming out of your wits' end and saying, you know what? I want to go beyond myself. I don't want to continue to do things the way I've always done it because I just don't want to be described as being insane. I want to do things differently. I want to explore new opportunities. I want to explore new possibilities. I want to extend my capacity. I want to leverage on other people's money, other people's resources, other people's ideas. I want to collaborate and find ways to do things because I want to win. This challenge is about winning, and there's no winning without a fight. So let's get that clear that as you enter into the third trimester of this challenge, the focus on your mind should be fighting to win. Put that down in the comment section. Fighting to win. That should be the top on your mind. That whatever it is, I'm going to fight to win. I'm going to fight sleeping. I'm going to fight inconvenience. I'm going to fight even the comfort zone. I'm going to fight everything that wants to hold me back from winning. Because winning is your right. You must focus on it and you must channel all your energy towards it because you know where attention goes, energy flows. I repeat that. Where your attention goes, that is where your energy flows. Your thoughts are electric and your feelings are magnetic. When you combine your thoughts and your feelings together, they create what you refer to as an electromagnetic energy in motion. That is the definition of emotions. Your emotions are energy in motion. It is a combination of your thoughts and your feelings. What are your thoughts? What you focus your mind on every now and then. 2 weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about concentration and we talked about where you distribute your attention. Your attention is your biggest asset. That is what the media is leveraging on. Every now and then, everybody wants your attention. Your attention is very expensive. You need to be careful who are you giving your attention to. It is very important. Who are you yielding your attention to in the areas of your life? Because that determines where you channel your energy to. Is it someone that is offending you that you're giving your attention to? They will draw your energy and they will drain you, they will bring you down. You need a situation where you channel your energy into something that adds value to you, something that brings out the best for you. And that is why it is a continuous fight. You're fighting to keep your attention intact. You're fighting to keep your energy levels up. You're fighting to keep your goals in focus. You're fighting to remain on top of your game. It is a fight. It is not easy. You have to just keep fighting in everything that you do. Now let's talk about fighting for a bit. There are two ways to fighting, two different approach. There is one, the defensive approach to fighting. What is the defensive approach? It talks about what you don't want. What are you resisting in your life? What are the things that you don't want that you just you get up every day? That is the motivation factor for you, and you fight it. I don't know about you, but me, I don't want poverty in my life. I mean, that is one of the things that you resist. I don't want sickness in my life, and all that. I don't want depression in my life. So I get up every day and I fight it. I replace all the recurring afflictive thoughts with counter affirmative thoughts. That is what I mean by defensive fighting. You look at the things that you don't want and you fight against them. That is one approach to fighting. Another approach to fighting is offensive, where you actually go for the goals that you want. All right? That is offensive fighting. It requires channeling your energy towards saying, you know what, I want to set this kind of target and I want to meet it. Whether it's a physical target, you want to improve on your looks, you want to improve on the way on your weight, your body mass, you want to improve your appearance and all that. It is a fight, but that is an offensive fight. You're trying to get into the best shape possible. You're trying to get the best look possible. That is a goal for some of you. But whatever it is that you're looking forward to, you must ask yourself, what kind of fight am I fighting? Pick your fight. Is it a defensive fight or is it an offensive fight? But either way you want to look at it, it will always be a fight. And now let me talk to you about pains and gains, because these are the mirrors of the things we're talking about. If it's a defensive fight, you are fighting against pain. If it's an offensive fight, you are fighting towards gain. All right. And it has been proven psychologically that the motivational power for pain is 2.5 times more than the motivational power for gain. I'll repeat that. The motivational power for pain is 2.5 times more than the motivational power for gain. And I guess I must have mentioned this before in one of our sessions before. Now, let me explain what that means. If you want to put your goals in perspective, okay, or put your goals in perspective, what will give you the motivation to fight? What will give you the drive to push? What will give you the impetus, the oomph to give it your best energy possible is a function of what is motivating you. Somebody catch that. What is motivating you will determine how much energy you will give to something. Let me say, for instance, if you are in a state, okay, let's look at finances, for example. We are going to deal with every area of our lives in detail, but I'm just picking some areas at random just to illustrate a point. If financially you can fulfill your needs, I mean, your basic needs, food, clothing, shelter, at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you've cleared the first level. If you're at that stage financially, you will not feel so much motivation if anybody gives you an offer that helps you to put food, clothing, and shelter on the table. Why? Because you have already satisfied that marginal utility. Does that make sense? But if you're in a situation where you don't even know where the next meal is coming from, you're in a situation where you don't even have a roof over your head. You're in a situation whereby you are even yet to scratch the surface of level one in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You will realize that any offer, if anybody makes you any offer to settle that first base in your life, the motivational power will be higher. I don't know if somebody got what I'm just trying to say. You're comparing someone who can feed himself. That person is aiming towards a gain because he can already feed himself. You are comparing that person with someone who cannot even feed himself. That person is running from a motivational power of pain. Yeah, a motivational power of pain, and the person is looking for food. The person is hungry. The motivational power for both of them is going to be different because one is running from pain and the other is running towards gain. Now, if you try to compare the motivational power for both of them, the one that is running from pain, the one that is hungry, is going to be more motivated to do some stuff 2.5 times more than the person that is not hungry. That is the point I'm trying to make. So the strength of your fight is determined by the strength of your hunger. Maybe you want to write that down. The strength of your fight is determined by the strength of your hunger. You can't fill a cup that is full. You can only pour into a cup that is empty. So if you look at your life, you ask yourself, am I full or am I empty? It is the level of content that you have in you that will determine the level of content that you are striving for. I'll give you another illustration. If you have a tank full of gas, your car, the tank is full of gas, you feel so confident. If you remember what we talked about last week, you feel so confident to get behind the wheels and go anywhere you want to. True or true? That's it. Now, flip the script. If you are running on a reserve tank, yeah, where the tank is already telling you that I have just a few percent to empty, you realize that psychologically, the kind of places you want to go to changes because the only thing that will be on your mind whenever you're driving is that dashboard. That is what I'm talking about. Your motivation needs to be put in the right perspective for you to get the right answer. And it's about fighting. Don't forget where we're coming from. We opened the session about the winning hacks to life. We started with being a champion. And we said a champion is someone that has engaged in series of winnings. And you have to win across the board to be referred to as a champion. If you win only one match, you can't be called a champion. You must have win more than enough matches to qualify to the finals. And at the final, you win the match, then you become a champion. Now, if you look at all the areas of your life, you need to win across the board. And in winning across the board, it requires a huge dose of fighting. Fighting is intentional. You can't find yourself in a situation whereby you're engaging in a battle and you don't lift a finger. You have to do something. You have to put in some efforts. You have to put in the work. So it doesn't matter where or how far you've come in the challenge. If you know in your heart that you can do much more or a lot better than you have done, you are the one who will give an answer to the things that you need to do. Don't forget, I mentioned before, if you go back and check all the videos, hunger does not come from outside. Hunger comes from within. Hunger is generated from within. Hunger is a function of emptiness. Hunger is a function of the cup being empty. Like I said, you can't pour into a cup that is full. You can only pour into a cup that is empty. So it needs to come from within you. And it's a fight. You're fighting headache, you're fighting stress, you're fighting fatigue, you're fighting all kinds of tension in your body. But what keeps you going is the motivation that you have committed to this thing and you have decided that you will finish it. A very good example is this session we're having tonight. If you know me very well, between you and I don't have the energy to deliver this session because I've just been through a whole week of intense work back to back. For the past 1 week, I've been having an average of 2 to 3 hours of sleep back to back every day. And tonight I said, no, the motivation for serving this session tonight is enough energy to keep me going. And that is why I'm here tonight. And that's another thing I want to talk to you about. In your fight, you must show up. Write it down. In your fight, you must show up. It is very important. You've never seen a match that someone refuses to show up and he gets to win that match. It is not done. If a wrestling match, a boxing match, whatever, UFC, whatever match it is organized and one of the fighters refuse to show up, it is automatic loss. You must show up. For people who know me, like someone was saying, wasn't expecting a live session tonight. It is completely inconvenient. The place is not right. The time is not right. The feeling is not right. But that is exactly what I want to teach you guys tonight. That don't wait until the circumstances are in alignment. The only thing you wait for is for your head to align with your heart and your heart to align with your hand. Until those three things align, you cannot move. And the scripture says, just like for those who subscribe to the Bible, that if you watch the wind, you will not sow. If you are the type that you need to make sure that everything is all perfect before you show up, you will never get stuff done. In the course of this challenge, what we have always been talking about is progress over perfection. Perfection is an abstract. Perfection is a combination of little wins on a daily basis. One of the wins is showing up. When we started this challenge, we knew how many people used to show up. Today, we can see how many people are showing up. That is what I'm talking about. But the answer to your question is in the strength of your why. The answer to your session, to your quest, is in the strength of your why. A couple of people are saying they're even surprised that I'm doing this session tonight. Yes, but what this should tell you is that you should give yourself 110 efforts. It is very important. You have to show up. It is a fight, and that fighting is intentional. Now, another thing you must understand about the fight is that it takes discipline. If you break down the 7 C's that we've talked about, whether it's clarity, comprehension, capacity, whether it's commitment, concentration, and confidence, everything has some high level of discipline in it. You have to be disciplined enough to do these things enough. You must want it badly enough to go after it enough. The question is, how badly do you want these things? How far do you want to go to give it the punch that is required? These are the winning hacks for your life. These are the hacks to winning in your life. The number one hack is the fight. You must acknowledge that it is a drawn battle. Nobody is delivering your success to you on Amazon. You have to go get it. You have to go fight for it. It is not convenient to pick up your workbook every night and fill in those details that ask you the same questions for 90 days. It is not convenient. What is your life, your money vision? What is your life vision? What is your 90-day money vision? What is your 90-day life lifestyle vision? What is your 30-day money vision? What is your 30-day lifestyle vision? What are your power moves for today? What are your new neural pathways? What are the disempowering thoughts that you want to stop? List them. What are the empowering thoughts that you want to start? List them. What are the things that you want to do more of? List them. What are the things that you want to do less of? List them. What are the things that you want to do today from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.? What day of the challenge is this? You fill all those details, and guess what? Like I said, you must complete the winning to be a champion. If you only win a few and you give up, you cannot become a champion. And that is what this challenge is about. The challenge is building the new me into a champion. That is it. It's going to be tough, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be stressful, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be excruciating, but it's going to be worth it. You define the worth for your goals. And that is what we're laying the foundation for tonight. Now, as we lay the foundation for our goals and we look at all these areas, you must also understand that fighting takes conscious learning. Number one, I said fighting takes discipline. Number two, fighting takes conscious learning. Because you need to scale the 4 levels of competence, and competence can only be taught by learning. What is the first level of competence? That is unconscious incompetence, where you don't even know that you don't know. That is the first level of incompetence. The second level, first level of competence. The second level of competence is your conscious incompetence, when you eventually know what you don't know. Then the third level is conscious competence, which is when you know that you know. Before I now get to that fourth level, which is unconscious competence. That is when you don't even take into awareness the fact that you know, because it has become second nature. And I remember using the illustration of someone that is learning how to drive. If you didn't even know how a car works, or you've not been on the driver's seat before, or you don't even know how the car operates, you are at level 1, which is unconscious incompetence. By the time you get behind the wheels for the first time and you see what actually happens, that people need to put in some gas, pump some brakes, steer the wheel, decide the direction and all that, and you realize that, oh my God, I didn't even know all of these things. That is when you move to level two, which is conscious incompetence. That means you're not being conscious of the things that you don't know. But all through this four level of competence, one thing is obvious: conscious learning. Because every hour, every day, you're learning something, and as you're learning, it is what is adding to you and building your competence level. All right. Even when you get to the third stage, when you now begin to learn how to drive and you know how to pump the brakes, you know how to give it some gas, you know how to steer the direction, you are now at level three, which is conscious competence. Even at that level, some of you still be checking the dashboard. Some of you'll be checking under the steering to check if you are stepping on the right pedals and all that. You are still gaining conscious competence. By the time you get to level four, which is unconscious competence, it has become part of you. It has become muscle memory. By then, you can be steering the wheel with one hand, be scrolling on your phone on the other hand, and you can put your foot on the gas pedal and you can find your way home without even being conscious of what is happening and the mechanics of things. That is unconscious competence. And that is where you need to get to at your fighting level. You need to scale your fight from the things you don't know to the things that you have overcome. The old you must give way to the new you. The person that you used to be must now give way to the person that you need to be. Because there are some things that your goals, your dreams will command a new version of yourself that will stretch you. It will command a new version of yourself that will make you fight for it. It's not going to be served unto you on a platter of gold. So you need to keep improving yourself. You need to keep evolving yourself. You need to keep unlearning and relearning. You need to keep exposing yourself. And that's what happens on the mental state. All right. Now, let's take it a step higher. Fighting, number three, it takes consistent practice. Consistent practice. I've always said it many times on these sessions that you must flow with consistency over intensity. The easiest thing for anybody to do is to be intense about something. But the question is, what is your staying power? You wake up, it's January 1, and you make a resolution and say, oh, I'm going to lose some weight. You hit the gym, you're fully kitted, you're lifting all the weights, doing all the strength training, cardio training, you're doing all these reps and the sets and everything. You're all over the place, trying all the equipment there. It's all full of intensity. But are you going to be back in by the end of January? Consistency over intensity. What do you do on a little by little basis? What is your Kaizen? What is the little progress that you're making? Even if it is one thing that you can do within your capacity, if you show up every now and then, you will keep making progress while you're at it. Bruce Lee, the legendary martial artist, he said, I fear not the man that can give 10,000 kicks. I fear only the man that can give one kick 10,000 times. That is the power of consistency. How many of you can show up consistently for something for a long haul if you believe it's worth it? If someone promises you that if you can give in 5 years of your life to showing up for something on a daily basis, you will get it. Will you give it a shot? But do you know that that's what academics do to you? They tell you that if you show up consistently for 5 years or 4 years, they'll give you a degree. They tell you that if you show up for so number of years, they give you a certificate. But guess what? You know that if you don't show up for that much time, you don't qualify for the rewards. So in everything, you always evaluate the goal. Is it worth it? And it is that evaluation that gives you the drive and the staying power to continue to show up. It has been 100 days challenge. Fantastic. But the question is, what happens after 100 days? These are the questions that we should ask ourselves. That when the 100 days are over, what kind of person will you be looking at in the mirror? Would you have imbibed the lifestyle that makes you a winner? Would you have imbibed the attributes of a fighter? Would you have imbibed the discipline that is required to follow through? The conscious learning that is required to follow through? Or the consistency that you need to put into it? The practice, practice every now and then. It's easy to look at someone like Dwayne Johnson and say, oh my goodness, this is a bodybuilder, actor, wrestler, philanthropist, and all this. He's got everything all going on. But are you ready to work as hard as he does? You look at Beyonce, you love Coachella, you love the Grammys, you love all about Beyonce, but are you ready to put in the work? These are the facts of life. Nothing comes without fighting. You must fight for it. You're either fighting defensively or fighting offensively. Either way, you are exerting energy. Either way, you are exerting effort. Either way, you are pushing yourself forward. Either way, you're giving it a drive because you know that you're heading in one particular direction. And that is what I want us to look at even as we begin to evaluate the concept of winning. Winning should not be limited to only one area of your life. There are 7 mountains to cross, and we've mentioned it a number of times even in this session. But you need to look at all those mountains, and that is what we're going to be dealing with as we break them down bit by bit in the subsequent sessions. You look at your mental health. You ask yourself, what kind of mindset do I want to develop? What kind of thinking pattern, belief systems do you want to develop? What kind of decisions do you want to make? What is the strength of your decisions? By the time you evaluate your mental life, you realize that there's so much that you need to unpack. Where do your thoughts go? An average adult experiences 80,000 thoughts on the average every day. 80,000 thoughts every day. Only very few of them are in the conscious mind, but a good chunk of them are sequestered to your subconscious and unconscious mind. So much is going on in the database of your mind, in your hard drive of your mind that you are even unaware of. But how are you exploiting the data that are resident in your mind? This is very important. So that as you evaluate your mental health, you ask yourself, how much mental strength do you have? How much mental permission do you give to yourself? For instance, if I ask you to set a goal, and I say, okay, imagine if it's a financial goal, and I say you should set a goal of $1 million before Christmas. The first thing that your mind does is to rationalize that goal. What are you going to do to earn $1 million before Christmas? Now, imagine while you're busy trying to rationalize that goal, I'm asking you to double it. Your mind will fail you. That is where mental permission sets in. It is until you give yourself the mental permission to go after the goal, which is when your head is aligning with your heart, you will not be able to engage in the actions that creates the opportunities, that presents the deals, that make you the offers, and presents to you the collaborative efforts, the people that you need to work with, the investment that you need to make, the things that you make your dreams look so easy. You will not be able to think that far because your mind has already shut down at the size of the goal. But the moment you give yourself permission, that is when clarity moves to capacity. You begin to understand that you cannot do this by yourself. I've always made the example of Aliko Dangote of Nigeria. He built a refinery not out of pockets. He understood that the project is beyond him, And he sought collaborative efforts. How much of your goals are you seeking collaborative efforts for? How much of your goals are you limiting to the size of your mind? Those are the kind of things that you look at when you look at me mentally. But we're going to be breaking all of this down, even in subsequent sections, starting from next week. But I just wanted to lay the foundation today that irrespective of the area of your life that you need to win, and you need to win across the seven of them, you need to fight. Whether it's a defensive fight or an offensive fight, you need to fight. You need to fight for your mental health. You need to fight for your physical health. You need to fight for your financial health. You need to fight for your social health. You need to fight for your environmental health. You need to fight for your spiritual health. You need to fight for your emotional health. Every area of your life requires a fight. But the question you must begin to ask yourself right now is, do you even have the strength for the fight? Do you have the energy for the fight? Do you have the drive for the fight? It is very important. And as you engage all these areas of your life, you also need to find out what are the things that you need so that you don't go into a battle blindly. For every battle, there's a battle plan, there's a battle strategy, there's a time where you evaluate the cost of your armory, your arsenal. What are the resources within you? What are the resources you need to scale upon? This is the journey to being a champion. This is the journey to being a winner. This is the journey into the new me in 100 days. This is the journey that makes you the very best version of yourself as you scale on a daily basis. You must learn to pick your fight in the size that you can pick on every day. And I've said it before, the 100 days is just a metaphor. It is a concept to how you build your life, because your thoughts will eventually become your beliefs. Your beliefs will now help you to create actions. Your actions you build up to become habits, and your habits will now help you to form a character, and it is your character that delivers the results. But everything starts from the place of thoughts. Thoughts are electric. The world around you, the atmosphere, the universe is filled with vibration, particles, signals, vibes all over the place. And it is what you pick with your natural senses that goes into your mind. That is why you need to be very conscious of the things that you allow into your space. What do you give your attention to? So you can learn how to build the energy to fight. Fighting is not for sissies. Fighting is for those who are conscious of the victory that they want to get. Fighting is for those who have counted the cost and they have evaluated what they need to do. You can take stories from the Middle East, Dubai, for instance. Everybody talks about Dubai and the amazing things there, but nobody gets to think about what it takes to build a skyscraper. It takes a whole lot. It's not just about the engineering, it's about the natural hazards, the natural resistance of weather, of heat, of wind. So many things will oppose you, but you have to fight. The kind of resistance you face when you're building a bungalow is nothing compared to the kind of resistance you face when you're building a 200 floor building. It gets to a stage, everything becomes so opposing, but you must develop the strength to fight. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we begin to wind down tonight, I just want to lay the foundation that as you embark on the journey of winning in everything you do, winning is not friendly, winning is not fun, winning is not fair. Because underneath those winning are fights. Fights are not friendly, fights are not fun, fighting is not fair. So you must be ready to give it everything it takes. You must be able to go on overdrive. You must generate energy from within. Gone are the days where you look for motivation from without. The best motivation that you can get for yourself is the motivation from within. No matter what anyone tells you, it cannot push you to the next place in your life. It is only what you tell yourself. So if you believe and you have the full guts that indeed you can get these things done, then and only then can you motivate yourself to do it. But if you don't believe that you can get it done, no matter how much the world pushes you, you will remain at the edge of the cliff. Now, this is my challenge to you. Take the leap of faith. You need to take the leap of faith, get your fighting gloves, and fight for your goals. So, beginning from next week, we'll start picking on the different areas of our lives, those 7 areas of our life. Maybe we'll be picking on 2 per day or 3 per day, depending on how the session goes, or whichever one, wherever you have questions, I'll be happy to take them. But we'll be dealing with them in details as we continue on the series of the winning hacks for your life. So, on that note, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in, and just get back to the WhatsApp group and just post it there and say, I am a champion. That's all I want you to do. Just say, I am a champion. And a champion is not just in words, a champion is in deeds. A champion is someone that has had series of winnings, like I've shared in the group, series of winnings. You don't only win some and lose some and declare yourself a champion. Mm-mm. You have to win across the board until you are declared a champion. And the areas where you need to win is what we're going to be building on next week. So, on that note, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the WhatsApp group. Go back there and just type, I am a champion. All right? Enjoy your week. Cheers.